Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. Sorry, I was having a conversation with Dan Giesling when I hit the record button. He asked me who won the middle school hockey championship. I said Finland, and then he typed against who, and I said USA, and his head exploded. So I was gonna ask, I don't even know, like, if we have to do any more dailies, but I've been finding them mostly, for the most part, to be mostly reasonably fun. So I guess, like, I'm gonna keep doing them until one of three things happens. You always gotta factor in the third thing, okay? The first one is we get some sort of achievement that goes, you did it! 30 dailies, wow, isn't that impressive? Another is, we just get, you know, sick of them. We have one too many dailies that is mediocre, and we go, you know what? See you never. Or we die. And I'm not saying that that's even on the, you know, in the radar of likely situations. I'm just saying, you know, if I happen to pass away, I think we'll suck it up. If I happen to pass away, I don't want you to be looking on YouTube and going, where's the dailies? He didn't say that he got sick of them, nor did he get the achievement, so I guess he's just gonna leave us hanging, instead of doing the honorable YouTube thing and producing episodes from beyond the grave. Now, in all likelihood, well, I don't know, many years ago I would have said, I'll probably stop playing the game before I die. I don't know, you know, it's been like a decade. So maybe I'll play the game until I die, even if I am, you know, gonna live to be 100. Who knows? Could be worse. We have 4 bombs. Where do we go with this? I think you look for a second secret room in the hopes of amping up your HP a little bit. You know what? You blow this up. No doubt. I also think that, I mean, saving 1 bomb for a tinted rock is a totally acceptable idea, but I believe this is a secret room. Had that sort of air about it. Excuse me, mister. I thought for sure we were... Sorry, I got a little phlegm in the throat. I thought for sure we were destined for greatness there. I thought for certain we would pick up a nickel, get an arcade on the next floor, speed and HP upgrade. You gotta have some cojones to make that dodge right there. Speaking of cojones, my parents and I... And Kate as well. We were having dinner last night. I know you're like, what does this have to do with balls? Okay, I'll get to that. Why are you so impatient? Once you hear the story, you're gonna feel bad. You're gonna be like, oh my god, are you okay? And the answer is, I don't know. Okay? You know what? Yeah. We were eating dinner, and I saw a light flash in my parents' eyes. They were facing the window. And they said, what's that? And immediately I turned around, and an undercover, unmarked police cruiser with its sirens on stopped, like hit the brakes, screeched. And we're like, well, that's unusual. Not for the neighborhood that it was in, to be fair, but the officer got out of the vehicle with his gun drawn, pointed it at the driver, and was shouting something. The driver put his hands up, opened the car door, like threw him onto the street and cuffed him. I've never seen that, not just in Vancouver in my life. I've never seen that in my life, full stop. It was wild, man. Got the adrenaline pumping. Also, dinner and a show. It was a nice time. I was trying to think, you know, it was only, I'm not saying I was in any danger, but it does kind of get the blood pumping, you know, when you see that there's a dude like, you know, in the wild, less than 20 feet from you that has a pistol. I was like, this is some real stuff right here. That guy must have, you know, done something crazy. Maple syrup heist or something. Okay, I'm hoping at some point, that's the end of that story. I mean, like, I don't know what he got arrested for. I thought it was real awkward, because, like, the dude who got arrested had a, like, his significant other in the passenger seat of the car. So, well, oh, Lord. While he was getting thrown to the street, She was just sitting in the car like, what do I do? That's what I live for in these situations, is those moments where, you know, everyone's like, oh, I wonder how it feels to be, you know, to be the center of attention in that situation. I'm like, nah, dude. How do you think it feels to be the lady that he was just, you know, they were about to go out to Canadian Tire and, you know, buy some ice fishing gear. All of a sudden, you're watching your boyfriend or your brother, I have no idea, get arrested and, like, thrown on the street of Chinatown. Jake. I got no idea what that feels like. It's a little awkward. The officer, I guess, radioed for backup because a bunch of cars or cruisers were there in, like, you know, under 30 seconds, and then they, like, took the lady out of the car. But they would, you know, they didn't throw her to the street. They were just like, how's it going? And she's like, you know, it's pretty messed up. I'm filling in the blanks of the conversation because I don't actually know what they said, but, you know, you get the general idea. All right. So this is actually the moment of truth. We should get a deal with the devil, but some of the shots that Monstro shoots are 1 damage. I don't think we need to use a bomb. As a result of not using a bomb, we'll probably be slightly behind schedule. Now, of course, you're like, what do you mean not use a bomb? You literally placed the bomb right after you said that. That's because I said the words behind schedule, and I decided, you know what, that's unacceptable. So instead, we made it DPS, please. Shouldn't have picked that up, just in case this were Krampus. This were? Rodden Baby, extremely good. Honestly, Pentagram, I think we have to take. Well, that's unfortunate. And then we'll suck up this. We got tears out of it, which is fine, because we already had a good base for speed. So I think we've actually improved ourselves pretty nicely there. You know, this will probably go up in the middle of January, roughly. We got a decent Isaac backlog. I would describe it as a healthy Isaac backlog. The hockey arc of Isaac is over. Finland has won the World Junior Hockey Championships. Congratulations, Finland. Condolences to the United States of America, and in particular, the Canucks prospects that happen to exist on that team. Explosive. Diarrhea. Close game, good crowd. You know what? I want to give mad props to the Finnish team. I didn't realize how short the Finnish national anthem is. I support a country that keeps a short national anthem. Oh, Canada is probably a little bit on the longer side, but, you know, the Star-Spangled Banner in Oh, Canada, excuse me. Well, if we can't fly, we should suck this up instead of Shielded Tears. Or maybe both, but... You know, they're roughly the same length, I think. And, you know, as much as it's nice when your country wins to subject everybody else to an anthem that they might not even know the language of, it's very respectful of other people's time to have a short national anthem. I don't know where I'm going with this. It seems like it's a prickly topic of conversation, but I don't think so. You know, I will give credit where credit is due for national anthems. Hold on. I think I'm gonna go for broke here. So check this out. Boom. We're gonna start there. Very happy with that. Then I think we're immediately gonna do our boss fight, and all I want to see there is if we have. That was too fast. I freaked out. All I want to do there is see if we get a devil deal, which is not likely, but if we get the ability to fly, we would love to take Egghead. I think we're fine with HP as well. If we don't, we should suck it up, because we're actually getting to a pretty good level of DPS here. I will rank national anthems. Now, this is the kind of thing that could rub some people the wrong way. How do I feel about the Star-Spangled Banner? I think it's a good national anthem, you know? Especially from a sports standpoint, it gives the singer a great opportunity. They can do it in an understated way. And, you know, just sing the song, and it's nice, and they're letting the anthem speak for itself. Or they can pull off like a Mariah Carey or Whitney Houston or Marvin Gaye style virtuoso performance. Why bomb your way into this room? Right after I did it, I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And that's cool too. You know, if you got the chops to pull it off, go for it. How about O Canada? Pretty much the same deal. Unfortunately, we will be leaving. We will not be sucking up Egghead. Unless this is a second secret room. And we get a bunch of, I don't know, a battery charge somehow. It turned out pretty well, to be honest. You know, I think O Canada has got the same kind of swell at the end. You know, it doesn't have a, oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave, and you hold that note. And then you give it like a 4-second pregnant pause where the audience is just like, when's she gonna say it? For the land of the free. You get the idea. I'm not gonna besmirch your national anthem. Another country with a great national anthem, Russia. No question about it. Hate to hear it at sporting events because it usually means that my country is lost. But I can't deny that, you know, if I were Russian, I would love hearing that anthem. I mean, I guess you probably like hearing your anthem in any situation in which it means you've subjected another country to your will, but you know, absent any kind of like political endorsement, I'm just saying the anthem is, it bangs, okay? Now, the truth is, if you ask me, hey, what country's anthems don't you like? I think I only know those 3 anthems. Even though I heard the Finnish anthem yesterday, I don't remember it. And that's not, I mean, to be rude. I just think your brain is literally like, you know, you gotta know O Canada, because at some point, you never know, you might find yourself, you know, in prison, and, you know, somebody's like, oh, you're a Canadian citizen, prove it. Sing the entire national anthem in English and in French. Plus, I heard it every day before class until, you know, I was in university. The American national anthem, you know, I've been to enough sporting events to know that, you know, like to know the words, basically. And then the Russian national anthem, not so much because of sports, but because it gets requested in streams all the time. Bum, bam, bum, bum, bam, bum, bum, bam, bum, bum, bam, bum. You know, it's roughly correct, I think. This might be, like, mildly controversial. I think I would rather not take that and then just suck this up and hope for raw stats. Believe you me, I would rather not, oh, I hate this room. I would rather have just taken Lump of Coal. But I think the real power of, and you may disagree, but I definitely think I'm correct. Let me put it that way. I think the real power of Void early is, you know, giving you the ability to get some raw statistics. Short of that, or in addition to that, if we could get like some, excuse me, if we could get some extra offense out of it in a big way, that'd be nice. I think we're gonna suck this up too. So that's probably where we want to stop. Well, it's debatable, because I think we can't get over the tier cap, even with Void. I don't know. I might be mistaken, but I don't think I am. Please drop Steam sale. I will suck it up, and we'll see. I mean, at this point, we actually could probably justify don't shoot the messenger. We're getting pretty close to the point, at least, in which we could justify getting rid of Void, and instead just rocking, you know, not Krampus's head, but it's something, maybe like Shoop-da-Whoop would be a nice kind of like Krampus's head, but charges fast enough to be more useful on boss rush. Right, we can't go in there. And we don't have any bombs, unfortunately, which means that we can't get those other bombs. But this run's going pretty well. I don't think I'm killing it, but I don't think I'm getting killed either. If I could go back, what would I do? I would actually probably take Quad Shot, because I think it gives us more space to get tiers upgrades from Void. But these are pretty, like, these are advanced level Void techniques. Like, this isn't like, what's the best play? This is like, you know, how did the Roman Republic fall? You know, we can only... The problems that we're having only become illuminated with the benefit of hindsight. But so far, I like any daily, or any run for that matter. We should take that. I like any run for that matter that... Oh, dude, Fishtail. Does it work with Rotten Baby? Let's see. It does. Okay, so Rotten Baby... We basically have 2 Rotten Babies right now, which is not nice in real life, you know, if you enjoy your sleep, but in digital video game terms, sign me up. What I was gonna say, before I interrupted myself so rudely 10 times, is I like any run that just gets strong on attribute merit alone. Okay, Epiphora does break the tier cap, which I was not certain of in advance. Now, I didn't want to suck it up, because, I mean, there's a few... Not all stat upgrades are created equal. Damage, rate of fire, occasionally HP, and then even less occasionally. Or, I don't know. If something happens less often, is it more occasional or less occasional? I don't know. See, that's another situation where the English language could use a little bit of refactoring. Speaking of which, speaking of refactoring, I've been reading more lately, and as I've mentioned, and I know you're like, where is this going? Trust me, there's a end point for the bit. There's always an end point for the bit. I'm gonna go to this curse room real quick though. The reading aside, you know, I think I mentioned probably a couple weeks ago I finished The Handmaid's Tale. Enjoyed it. Thought, what am I gonna read next? I really just go through Amazon's, like, you know, people who read this also liked this. So I read Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. Finished that a couple of nights ago. Also a very, very enjoyable read. And I'm looking for something else to read. So I, you know, remembered that Indigo opened back up in Vancouver after having shut its doors because physical book sales, you know, cratered. They're kind of, you know, coming back a little bit. Yo, Small Rock, huge. So I went to Indigo, and I was also like, you know, I haven't enrolled for a class yet this semester, so maybe I'll take a look at, like, what they've got for programming books. Maybe I can find something to work through. First off, this is not to flex, okay? Weird flex, but okay. I'll say it so you don't have to. But a lot of the programming books that are sold at a general bookstore are beginner-level books and reference manuals, which is fine, but it's not really what I'm looking for. You know, I already know the basics of enough languages that I just feel guilty. Let me think about that for a moment. You know, this is a tiers upgrade, assuming it beats the tier cap. I'm kind of tempted to go for it. Nope. So we will suck this up. Became shot speed only. Horrible. Boss rush will be a real challenge. You know, for anyone... People that program know what I mean when I say that. People who don't program might think, oh, look at this guy. He knows 8 languages. No, it doesn't mean anything. It's actually like... It's really something to be embarrassing or embarrassed about. Is that, you know, I'm at a beginner level in, like, you know, 6 languages that all basically can do exactly the same thing. And an intermediate level in, like, 2. So, you know, I'm just saying I don't need to buy a book that's like... Learn Python, you know? I don't know Python, but simultaneously, I don't need to know it right now. What I need is a book that forces me to do difficult stuff that's kind of out of my comfort zone. But then when I was in there, I was looking at this stuff and I was like, dude, programming books and all textbooks are expensive, for one, but also very large and heavy. I live in a small apartment. I was like, no wonder I started buying this stuff digitally. Oh my god. I looked around there for, like, you know, 10 minutes, and I was like, well, I could buy this, I could buy this, I could buy this. And then I was like, I don't want any of this garbage. It's like a big old rock with words on it. Just give me the kilobytes, man. Count me as one of the... I'm happy that physical books are making a comeback. Yo, I don't know about this one, though. I'm happy that physical books are making a comeback while simultaneously being like, you know... I like my digital aspect. I'm a... proud member of the digital revolution when it comes to that. So, we are gonna remove Void and take Tammy's head. For real. I know, you're like, what? No, it's the right time. I truly believe that it is the right time. Void's been great, has given us amazing statistical improvements. The time has come. I would much rather do this than suck it up. Yo, that's pretty good. Alright, we gotta make big moves here. And this is, at least, is not amazing for boss rush, at least not yet. But it is better for boss rush than the other, well, than Void, really. For now, at least. I think this is going to be a tough run. Dude, Compost is interesting as well. I think we got to buy a Spirit Heart. Dude, this is real tricky. I'm not going to be making any bold moves here. I'm mostly just going to buy enough HP to keep myself alive, I think. I thought about Spider Mod briefly. But we don't have that kind of time, really, to be making big plays. So, like, Blue Candle is also great, don't get me wrong, but Stopwatch seemed mission critical. If I have an advantage in Isaac, I think it might be the ability to make decisions quickly. Now, it's not to say the decisions are always good, but I think a lot of people, I watch people, you know, and I interact with people on a regular basis, believe it or not, unlike most streamers. And a lot of people, they're very, and it's good in some situations in life. They're considered, not considerate, you know, they are human beings after all, but, you know, they take the time to evaluate all options before they make a decision. I'm not always that kind of guy. And I think, unfortunately, my bad habit will be rewarded on today's daily in leaderboard position context. Take the negative. Out of these, I think we want Forever Alone. So, well, actually, the fact that the stopwatch exists is fairly nice here, but I don't see this being an easy boss rush. But thanks to the stopwatch, it might be easier. And I actually, the more I look at this and the more I kind of think about it, the more I think that maybe it actually leaves us in a great position right now. Maybe as compared to the average person on today's daily, we're way ahead. You know, we got a raw, statistically very, very strong run. Well, pretty strong. We could use some tier effects in particular is the big one, but... You know, I'm trying to take advantage of Epiphora here to keep us at 2 rate of fire, and, you know, it's working out pretty nicely. If we lose it, it only takes like 10 seconds to get back, but... I really appreciate the extra HP, especially because we're not getting the Tears upgrade from Dark Prince's crown regardless. Actually getting a pretty good return on our... return on our investment from... Thank you. Well, from everything here, to be honest. I was gonna say from the attack fly, though. Here, sorry, Mega Fatty. You're harder to kill, and you're too close to the edge. I think I gotta do this, unfortunately, but now we'll start rebuilding. I'm not really using Tammy's head. There's good reason for it. I don't think that it actually does more DPS, even for the brief instant in which it's alive, than just our raw tiers by themselves. And, dude, Rotten Baby's doing wonderful work here as well. So, I think the average run will actually be maybe substantially worse off. We didn't miss any deals with the devil or anything like that, so I think that we're probably ahead of the curve. I don't think we have an incredible run for fighting Hush. But I'm hopeful, you know, we'll get a deal with the devil that'll change that. I think our damage penalty is actually pretty good as well. And our item penalty is... I mean, who cares, really? We haven't picked up many items, unless it counts if you pick it up with the Void. So I'm feeling pretty accomplished right now. Where are you? There we go. Like, I don't know. I was evaluating the run in run terms, and I was like, the run it's like a 7.5. Not bad. But I think in terms of like where we rank relative to the population today, we might be at an 8, 8.5, maybe even a 9. It's always hard to gauge. You're kind of, you know, you're looking at shadows to figure out where you rank relative to the average, but at least until the end. Dude, our shots have such a variance. It's like a double slit experiment. Ah! I literally stood there while that happened. My brain decided, you know what? Output, instead of actually moving out of the way. Good idea. Which is also what I did when I saw the cop pull that gun. Instead of, like, getting low, or at least getting ready to get low, I went, wow. Then 2 seconds later, my conscious brain was like, hey, maybe, like, you should have taken some steps to protect yourself, just in case the other dude had a gun, you know. You never know. But nah. We can absorb the speed downgrade. The HP, it's mostly deal with the devil fodder, because it doesn't actually matter via Dark Prince's Crown. You know, we're ahead of the curve on that one. I mean, actually, we were behind the curve. We should never have taken Dark Prince's Crown in the first place, apparently. Now, I should not be doing this room. Anybody for extra credit want to tell me why? I'll give you 3 seconds. You know, it's not a hard question necessarily. Hush is the answer. Not that I'm an authority to be, you know, coming up with questions like that, but, you know, we are going to get points for it, but I don't think we're fast enough right now to be feeling good about that sort of stuff. So, the good news, you know, Tammy's head with the kind of statistical acumen that we got going on here, please. It's going to help us when it comes to room clearing. We could really, really use a homing tier, basically of any variety. Just to make Tammy's head a little stronger. Because right now, it's good when it hits. It oftentimes does not hit. Yo, that was terrible on my part. Does Tammy's head also... well, I gotta check this. Does it remove Epiphora? So let's get a charge going on Epiphora. And then pop Tammy's head. Okay, we gotta stop shooting. I just want to learn something. Did you have to spawn this wave? Okay, so get a charge going on Epiphora. Okay, so no enemies. Cool. So what you're gonna do is get a charge going on Epiphora. It does not kill Epiphora to use Tammy's head. So that's actually nice. On rooms with weaker enemies, we're gonna be totally content to do this. Ooh, a double tinted rock. Thank God we used 2 bombs to get to a golden chest instead of using 1 key. Shouldn't be mad. Sometimes that's actually a totally acceptable decision. I mean, not this time, but still. We're gonna get a cube of meat. I'm trying to keep inventory of, like, what we would do. Like, how far behind or ahead are we as a result of taking Tammy's head instead of Void? And I think that we probably would have sucked up cube of meat for stats, but I don't think that's actually that relevant. Like, I think having cube of meat is also very, very good. You know what the big money pickup for us was? Was actually the stopwatch. I think that might be what gives us one of the larger edges over competition. It's also, like, the fact that we got it, like, we got so lucky to not take damage there. The fact that we got it on, like, our, you know, 5th reroll with a minute to go until the boss fight, or until boss rush closed, is also indicative of why I never feel confident. I think maybe it's not a secret room. Maybe it is. Why I never feel confident saying that I'm performing at, like, you know, a top 1% level on a daily. Because you never know where, you know, game-changing stuff like that can be hiding. Really, really good and smart way to take damage there. Actually, you know, I'll sack a Spirit Heart in order to have Empress. Because Empress is at least extremely helpful for Hush. And then after that point, it's just Mega Satan, you know? Mega Satan, I mean, and also Isaac, but it's not that bad. God, I would love to be Guppy. Creating double the flies and firing at a 2 rate of fire. Chef's kiss. Unfortunately, you know, we're not even close, but oh well. Spoonbender, easy choice. Probably would have avoided that one. And here, honestly, I'll spend the money. I think Buddy in a Box is just fine. We can take the world card with us. I'm okay with this. Now we're off the clock as well. Looking for Tinted Rocks. Out of all these, I would take Little Haunt, but, you know, we also could have gotten away with taking nothing, I think. So, right off the bat, I mean, I'll tell you. You probably don't need me to tell you, but I'll tell you nonetheless, because that's kind of my job. We're not going to be super thrilled about Spoonbender right away, and the reason for that should be abundantly clear, but we're fighting an enemy that's like as large as a regular-sized room and barely moves. But with Tammy's head in the future, we will be very thankful this item exists. We should get hit once or twice here, but we do have a stopwatch, so after we get hit once, everything should become quite a good bit easier. Really want to keep, that was a dangerous dodge. We really want to keep Epiphora bumping, but simultaneously we also want like all these flies to be close enough to aggro right away, because I think it makes a major change to our DPS. To be able to hit with them. Unfortunately, Rotten Baby, I love the item. The AI is not always where it needs to be. For whatever reason, the Rotten Baby AI, let me put it this way. I'm not saying it's a development problem. Like, they can't program good AI. Because again, Mr. Meeseeks, if you sick Mr. Meeseeks on an enemy, that enemy teleports, Mr. Meeseeks will follow them into the dark like a freaking Ben Gibbard song, you know? Not to besmirch the efforts of the rest of Death Cab for Cutie. Rotten Baby is like, if there's an enemy right in front of its face, it's like, I didn't see it. So we lost Epiphora, but, we kind of had to change directions here. About halfway through the fight. We're not a very good crowd control, run. So every time he spawns these enemies, it's basically like another 45 seconds of my life I'll never get back, but that's okay. I've been vindicated, by the way. I watch other streamers from time to time. That was terrible. And, I hear them talk about Hush, and I'm like, dude, turns out everybody that has played a lot of Isaac is basically just sick of the Hush's nonsense. So, dude, sign me up. I will sign the petition. Change.org. Remove this guy's super armor. Still love the game. Don't get me wrong. I understand how Star Wars fans felt about The Last Jedi. Sort of. Dude, I'm still like, can you please stop tweeting about Into the Spider-Verse? I haven't seen it yet, and every time someone says you should see it, it makes me feel like I'm in a dereliction of duty to have not seen it yet. So fine, I'll go see it, okay? It's just been a busy time. I got a controversial, it's hockey related, but I'm only using it as a springboard, okay? The people, the men who play in this hockey tournament are between the age of 17 and 19, young kids. They end up, at least in Canada and perhaps in the rest of the world as well. I don't know how popular the tournament is in other parts of the world, but I got, some tweets from Finns, some tweets from Russians, some tweets from Americans that are like, we're watching and rooting on our boys back home. That's fine. of course. But these kids, young men, depending on how you want to say it, they're on like the global stage to some extent, right? And there was a situation, you know, so like there was controversy with the Canadian team because they didn't do that well. And a lot of that reflected on the captain. And he was taking some heat on social media. And everybody was like, it's not cool for people to be harassing this kid on social media. 100% agree. But then another situation came up after the Russian team lost to the U.S. And I was rooting for the U.S. in this situation. If you want full galaxy brain take. The Russian team lost to the U.S. The captain of the Russian team, Klim Kostin, threw his helmet into the boards, and then he received like a Player of the Game award, which came with a watch. He took the watch and, just gave it to somebody on the bench, then skated off. And while the crowd was booing him as he skated off, he mouthed F you to the chat. Only, the full F, if you know what I mean. And everybody was like, there were a couple of things. People were like, first off, that's very unsportsmanlike. And then secondly, people were like, he's just a kid. I've got the third galaxy brain take from someone who was in the stands, okay? Klim Kostin did nothing wrong in this situation, in my opinion. He's an 18-year-old kid. 19 maybe, actually, now that I think about it. But it doesn't matter, in this case, it's a difference of maybe a few weeks, right? The whole game, he flies to Canada to play a sport. The crowd, the whole time, is booing his team. Every time they go, hey, today we got Team Canada. Everyone goes, woo! Versus Team Russia. The whole crowd. Except me. I'm not going to, play into this. Mostly because it would reflect badly on me if anybody saw it. But, going, boo, you suck, you suck. I coming from the position, there was a dude that was like 3 rows in front of me. That whole U.S.-Russia game, anytime a Russian player skated by him, he'd bang on the glass as loud as he could and go, hey, 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 hey you, Kostin, hey you suck, you suck. And okay, here's the thing, okay? It's sports, I get it, it happens all the time. Why shouldn't he tell the crowd to go F themselves? They clearly, they dislike him, They've been rooting against him for the whole tournament. Then at the end of, a 1-goal hard-felt loss, or hard-fought loss, I should say, he says F you, or that he doesn't want to accept his, consolation prize because, he's emotional in the moment. And the crowd boos him. Why shouldn't he tell them to F themselves, as far as I'm concerned? Here's the thing. Did I boo a little bit during the tournament? Yeah. Every time Canada got a penalty, I booed. You know why? Because we're the home country, All of the penalties, except maybe a couple, were totally deserved. But still, every time the refs give you your team a penalty, you gotta boo them. And then you turn to the person beside you and go, I'm gonna boo, but I'm gonna be honest, we deserve that one. That's just the way of the world. But when you're actually, actively, I hate it. You shouldn't have stood there, obviously. When you're actively booing a player, I still think that's okay, even though they're young. But if the player tells you to, go kick rocks, you can't be like, well, they have to learn sportsmanship. I don't understand, why, when did the tournament become so passionate? Well, maybe when a bunch of, drunk 40-year-olds in the stands were heckling a 19-year-old kid just because he's from the wrong country by, he's not from the host nation. So he issued an apology. And then in the next game, he scored a goal. And instead of mouthing F you to the fans, he put his fingers in his ears for his goal celebration. And I was like, that's great. I like that a lot. I didn't, I was rooting against the Russian team for the most part. In basically every game. But I was like, dude, he didn't need to issue an apology. I probably wouldn't have told the crowd to F off. But I think he's well within his rights. I also, I think... it's just, the more I go out in public, the more misanthropic I become. I don't actually think that the human race is terrible. But what I do think, is that the more you get exposed to tens of thousands of people plus alcohol plus sports in the, the same environment, the easier it becomes to be a little bit misanthropic, right? So I mentioned I had a little pet peeve I was watching the Czech Republic play Russia, and people in the stands around me were chanting, "Go Czechoslovakia," which, I don't know if it's rude, but it is at the very least pretty ignorant. It hasn't been Czechoslovakia for like 20 years. And also, every time they make an announcement, they go Team Czechia or Team Czech Republic. So, like, literally just, make the slightest effort possible. Regardless. Then, Team Slovakia was playing Team Russia. And the people in the stands were like... One dude said, "Go Slovakia." And then the woman next to him said, "It's not Slovakia. It's Slovenia." Wrong. It was Slovakia. What did this dude say? He said, "Oh, really? That's wild. I've never even heard of a country called Slovenia." Good one. It's just, I was rooting for you for about 15 seconds because you were right and she was wrong. And then you had to go and totally screw it all up by just saying something ignorant for no reason. Like, I don't know what you're bragging about, that you've never heard of Slovenia. I'm not saying it's a country that factors heavily into world politics, But simultaneously, like, maybe look at a map sometime. Anyway, I'm happy the tournament is over. It's been fun, but simultaneously, I'm reminded of, the most Canadian pride I ever have corresponds with the least amount of time I spend in public, for sure. And that's not to insult my countrymen. It's not a capital offense to have not heard of the country known as Slovenia. But simultaneously, like, why are you proud of your ignorance? Like, well, if they wanted me to hear of their country, maybe they should have got involved with some wars. Like, is that the attitude? Or is the attitude just like, I'm proud to be dumb? I don't know. Don't take offense to this, by the way, if you ain't ever heard of Slovenia. That's fine. Just don't go out in public wearing a t-shirt that says, "I haven't heard of your country." Especially when that country not even playing in the game. Why, just be polite, There's people wearing Slovakian jerseys around us. They're not going to be like, "Wow, they really suck." I was also like, why do you call it the Czech Republic? You call it Czechoslovakia. When Slovakia plays, you call it Slovenia. Like, at some point, it's almost like you're like deliberately Dr. Steve Bruling the situation. I just picture them, they go back to Bratislava, and they're like, "Piotr, how was the tournament?" It was pretty good, except for the fact that literally 99% of the stands didn't know what country we played for. Oh, like they didn't recognize the Slovakian flag? No, like after the announcement said, "Go Slovakia," they said, "Go Czech Republic." It's not that hard. You don't have to have 500 hours in EU4. Anyway, I'm just standing up for my EU boys. I'm sorry. But if you think it was bad in Vancouver, wait till Red Deer. No offense meant to my Albertan. Well, like a little offense, but good-natured meant to my Albertan friends. Okay. What are we doing? Well, I was trying to get, like, peak exploration bonus, but I'm realizing now this was probably ill-advised. I also, like, I forgot I was playing a daily and just started, like, going freaking buck wild. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go fight Mega Satan. I think this run petered out, and that's fine. Or Piotered out, if you will. Anyway, all I'm saying is that I support Klim Kostin. I think he should have told the audience to F off. I think half the teams in the tournament should have told the audience to F off. So you gotta remember, in the end, it's just a game. Do I take hockey seriously? Sort of, I don't know. I tweet about it a lot, but I'm never like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened, I use this as an example all the time. But, you know, when you've watched your country lose to Germany and in the semifinals of the Olympics, and then, you know, watching them lose in the quarterfinals at home, you know, for the worst performance by a Canadian team on home ice of the World Juniors ever. Watch the Canucks lose all the time in person. It really puts it in perspective, you know. You start to be like, you know, it's just a game, you know. You go, oh, that sucks, and then you go out for dinner and you're like, I feel fine. You know, some people take it way too seriously. Even more serious. I mean, you know. Sure, no matter where you're from, you got, you know, diehard football fans, diehard soccer fans. It's the same thing happens in video games before you get too smug, by the way. It's not like this is a uniquely... I really wanted to keep Epiphora. It's not a uniquely sport-based phenomenon. It happens in games all the freaking time as well. People will tweet developers and just be like, you nerfed the M1 Karens. You suck. Release the Raimi suit. Well, in my defense, they clearly had the 3D mock-ups made for quite a long time in advance of the release of the Raimi suit. We hurt because we love, you know? It happens with any kind of fandom where, you know, I think you can get yourself trapped in that bubble for any length of time. Even Isaac. Like, some toxic idiots out there are like, I hate Hush, remove his super armor from the game, Tyrone. Wow, oh, wow, clap, clap, easy clap, another Retrovision pill, lol. How do you do, fellow memers? That's me making fun of myself, in case that's not abundantly obvious. I have lost confidence in our rank today. I think we will probably do fine. I would say somewhere between 100 and 200 is my expectation. Sure. I mean, that's pretty close. 80th. It's better than expected, but I'll take it. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. It was a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Follow me on Twitch as well. Twitch.tv/Northernlion to be notified when I go live in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!